Well, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
Very excited to have you here. Now, for everybody watching and listening, Diana Pires from Diana Pires Events, which you've just rebranded.
Formerly known as Truly Yours Planning.
So just to start off, why don't we give just a little bit of the business background of kind of for people who are listening who want to know, you know, who you are, when you started, a brief summary kind of.
Okay, so I started in 2006. I've always been in the event industry, so I started with serving when I was 16 years old. I loved that whole side of things, so I was always in the catering side of that and banquets. And then when I went to school, I wasn't really sure at the time what was I going to take. I knew I loved the hospitality industry, so it was geared towards hospitality. So I went to hotel management. From hotel management, as I was doing it, I had the opportunity to do some interning, and then I got to work at Taboo Resort, and that's kind of when it kicked off for me. Because when
Taboo's Muskoka.
That's right.
Okay.
So when I was in Muskoka at Taboo, I really enjoyed the atmosphere. I loved being there. They kept calling me back so seasonally because it was a seasoned resort, and it was like a luxurious resort. So they always loved having me back. So I would continue to go back. And then I always had a few jobs. It was never just one job. I was like 2 or 3. I was always working and busy. So I was also working at a retail store, just part-time while I was in school. And then I would also do catering on the side.
Oh, wow.
So when I was catering on the side, they really enjoyed working with me, that I was brought on as an executive assistant. So that's when I started dealing one-on-one with clients. So I would book the events, I would showcase the space, we would do a lot of private events, we would do corporate luncheons, dinners, anything in private homes. Like, we were doing a lot of that, and I love the interaction one-on-one. So when I was doing that and working at the retail store, I was also growing. So I went from part-time to full-time to assistant to a store manager, to then to a district manager over 10 stores across southwestern Ontario. And I was like around 22, 23 at that point. So I had opened Truly Yours Planning already. I was super ambitious. I was like, I'm just going to do this. I was having coffee with my cousins. We were trying to figure out names, and that's kind of where it came out. And I said, let me just start. Have it on the side, see where it goes. Back in the day, at that time, you know, we know that event planning wasn't huge. It was just something that people were just getting used to and getting to understand. So for me, it was still very fresh and very new, but I really knew that I loved just being around people and taking care of them and making them happy. It was like a fulfillment. I was so happy about that. So when I was doing that, as I was continuing to grow, because it takes time to build, you know, we would do private events for family, friends, but then we would bring on clients. So I had the opportunity for that. And this was all at the same time, if that makes sense. I was like juggling a million things at once. And once I decided, when I was about 23, I got this huge promotion at the retail store. And I was probably one of the youngest people. I also bought my house at that time. So for me, it was like, do I leave a full-time salary job to the unknown? Or do I take a leap of faith and just believe that I can do it? And I did it. And it was very hard because you have no idea what you're walking into. You have no idea how much money you're going to make, who's going to book you. So those things were all unknown, but I didn't care because I felt in my heart that I'm like, if I'm going to do it, and if I started before at the bottom and I grew within a company, I can do it for myself if this is really what I wanted to do. And that's what helped me get to where I am now, I would say, because I really had to take that leap of faith and really work towards it. And I kind of left everything else behind. And it was the hardest thing because, you know, we bought a house, didn't know how much money I was going to make. And I was like, I can just try. I'm going to figure it out. And that's what I did. So, yeah. And then when we went full time, it was like a disaster. Because then I literally got pregnant with Nathan.
Right.
And that's where my son comes in.
Right.
Yeah.
So you were married at the point when you had to make the decision?
We're not married. We're common law.
Okay.
So him and I, we've been together since we're 18. So essentially, I made the decision on my own, but he supported the decision that I made. Right. He was there to have my back, which is huge. You need to have a partner who supports you, who, you know, they'll be on top of you because they want to make sure that obviously you're making the right decisions for the family. But he was completely supportive of me because he knew how much I wanted it. Yeah. So that was important.
That's super important.
Yes.
Especially if you want to make a decision to do something like that, you have to have someone in your corner saying, go for it.
Oh,
right?
100%.
So that's always nice to have that support.
Yeah. And everything that we did when we were growing together, we did on our own. Like, nobody gave us anything. So if I wanted something, I had to go and get it.
Right.
That's just how it was. Yeah.
So on the first day of Truly Yours then?
Yes.
It was just you?
It was just
on
me.
your own?
So, yeah, it's kind of a funny story because in 2006, just me on my own, just getting a couple of clients, just going from there. And then into 2007, 2008, I had a good friend of mine and we decided to partner up. The partnership didn't work. It lasted a year just because we both had two different visions.
Yep.
One thing she wanted to do, one thing I wanted to do, just completely different. So I'm still in the event industry. She's not. So, but we maintain that relationship. We're part of each other's weddings, like part of the wedding and so forth. So everything was great on that end, but it just didn't work out. And I just kept going with it. So, and for me throughout those years, I was probably like 26,
wow.
26 years old. Yeah, 26 years old when I was like, you know what, I'm just going to push myself. And people already knew me in my community. So like in the Portuguese community, family and friends were already introducing me. So I knew a lot of people in that community. It was just a matter of showcasing a side of me and what I could do. And it just started with logistics and planning. And then over the years, it's evolved into people want to hire us for design. They want me to be involved through an experience. So it's really opened up a lot of doors where I've actually, I didn't know I could do certain creative things that I do now. And that's very exciting because it's kind of an evolution.
For sure.
You start one way. And I think one of the biggest things for me, which really made me decide whether or not this was like something I wanted to do or not, was when I found out I was pregnant. Because you're going in full time, just starting out your first year, self-employed, and then I find out I have a little baby coming on the way, which was a blessing, very exciting. But it was also my first real year after planning events for over about a year and a half that I was walking into the unknown. Can I do this? Can I get through it? Do I have support? So I always had people that I can count on, and if I needed them for an event, I keep a very small pact of people that I can trust. So people who have been with me have always been with me since the beginning. So if I need someone, I go back to day one when there was always that support. Okay. So, and that's really important, to have core people that you can trust. Like I'm still connected with every single person. I still see them. So through my journey, they've been there with me the whole time, which is really important for me. And it's one of those things that I knew that I can always depend on, to have those people by my side whenever I needed that help. So going into having Nathan, I made a commitment to clients, and I'm like, I'm going to be there. I have no idea when Nathan's going to be born, because you can never guarantee a date when a child's going to be born. He was supposed to be born 2 weeks later after the event, and then I was going to have like a 3-week break because I already committed to a whole bunch of weddings in the summer.
Because you'll be fine after you have a baby.
Well, because
you don't know.
I didn't know, because I committed to all these weddings before I found out I was pregnant.
Right. Oh,
so.
Okay.
How can you kind of turn your back and say, I'm sorry, I can't do your event anymore? For me, that wasn't in my cards. Right. It was like, I'm going to do it because I promised I was going to do it. Right. And this is the most important day of someone's life. So if I'm not there, who can, if my word's not there, and it was a hard time, like I get emotional about it because I think about it and I'm like, geez, what about if I wasn't able to do it? Right. Where would I be now? Right. That was the whole thing. Figure it out. Don't stress anybody out. You can do it. Yep. You've done other things. Even though you don't know how to have a baby yet, because this will be my first time, you'll figure it out. Yep. So I did, and that was it. And I made sure I had enough support, enough people. People thought I was crazy. And I didn't even think about it. It was like, he came out on Wednesday. I got discharged on Friday. I was at the rehearsal at 1:30. Oh my,
on Friday?
On Friday with Nathan. Goodness. I have pictures, actually. I'll post it closer to. Yeah. Because I'll be celebrating 6 years that he's born. So yeah, like 6, he was basically in that time, and then 14 hours on Saturday. It was insane. And it was so important and pivotal for me to be at this event. Not because people they were like, stay home, we need you to be home. It wasn't about that. It was because I felt that, because I was so strong about it, that I made a promise. I didn't want to break it. And that was everything. And that's one thing that for me just puts the icing on the cake. Like if somebody ever asks, oh, how do we know you're going to be at our wedding? Right. I'm like, well.
Let me tell you a story.
Let me tell you a story. Yeah. And then you tell me. And I'm not saying that this is for everybody. And I'm not suggesting that people do it. Believe me, it's hard. But what I am saying is that I don't know how I can even compete with that for myself. Right. Like if you were to say that, because anybody who goes into the unknown or anyone who's delivering and there's so much more that goes beyond just having a child and a baby. It's emotionally draining. There's so many things that happen that are unknown, and you just kind of like, keep it clear, and then you kind of figure it out on the back end. But you don't want to ruin someone's day, and you don't want to take that away. So that's something for me that I can always say that at least I have this. I'm not saying I would do it again. I probably wouldn't, because I want to be healthy for myself. Yes. Number one. Yep. And for my baby. Babies deserve that. Yeah. I'm not saying I'm going to have more, because I don't think I could do more. But yeah, that was kind of it. Wow. So after that, we had more events. It was continuous throughout the year. And at the end, that's when I said, I had to stop for a moment. And I never even fully took a moment just to enjoy, the delivery, enjoy having because it was always go, go, go. And I think for me, that's why, even last year, I took a bit of this year actually took a bit of a break, because I'm like, okay. I need a moment just to kind of relax, and then we'll get into it.
So you've been going since
nonstop.
15?
That's right.
So it's very clear that you're an entrepreneurial spirit. There's no question. So when you were in pre-days, did you do things that were of that spirit?
Yes.
Like lemonade stands and stuff like that?
All the time. I felt I was always a leader in school. Yeah. So whether it was a sports teams, like basketball, volleyball, soccer, I was always the leader. Right. But I was always a motivational leader. We would work as a team. It was always lead by example, work hard with people, don't just lead and don't do any of the work. It was always an investment of my time. I remember one time, actually, these were created, and I wish I patented this one day. So do you remember, when I was in grade 10, grade 11, those blow dryers, when you blow dry your hair with a brush? Yeah. And it dries your hair? Yeah. So I created one.
Before they were created.
Correct. Yep, I did. No. I created one. And I remember my grade 11 teacher saying, he's like, you need to patent this. I'm like, well, I just created this for fun. Because I'm I always I was ironing my hair. Right. Right? The old school iron.
Real iron.
Right. And I asked my godfather, I'm like, I need to make something for women and hair. And we just came with that. And it didn't work 100%. But the idea was there. Wow. So that was something cool. I did. Yeah. And then when I got 100% in grade 11 hospitality class, that was kind of the icing on the cake. Right. And I got an award at a school that I just went to. It was an entrepreneurial award, and I was in high school, and I went to that school for 6 months. So I transitioned from one school to another. Within 6 months, I got that award. So it was always in the cards for me in terms. But yeah, I always did garage sales. Yeah, I was always making money on the side. I was always hustling. Everything from the youngest age. So cool. Yeah, and it was good.
And so. Yeah. You're obviously involved now in weddings, and then you've now started a new-ish chapter, not your rebrand, but with the Hustlers Brunch.
That's right. Yeah.
Which is, why don't you tell us a little bit about what Hustlers Brunch is and why you started it?
Yeah. So the idea came from creating, I would say, just creating an atmosphere and a place where people can just connect and be themselves and feel like no one's judging them. And essentially, we have so many people that are inspirational in our industry. In Toronto alone, I feel like that we haven't done enough things here, and we need to create more opportunities for women to come together and genuinely just chat, have conversations, but also be open and share their stories. And that for me was really important. And I hadn't seen that. And I'm sure there are things that are out there that people are doing, but here I haven't seen that in our community. Yep. So for me, it was really important. And then I thought, okay, well, who do I want to get? And I feel that sometimes that we forget that the people that are the most successful can be the most alone because they're always so focused, whether you're behind a screen editing, whether someone's creating something, designing it, logistical email detailing. There's so many people that do so much on their own, but they don't have anybody to talk to. They can have friends, but they don't have anybody that understands what they're going through because they're not in the same industry. So I wanted to make sure that we had something like that, that was a confidential environment where women can get together, and only women, because I feel that we needed that. And that was important for our industry and our community.
It's been, so I was able to attend last year.
Yeah.
I was filming, and so
That's right.
we had a nice little trailer from that, but I thought it was such a wonderful event. It's beautifully styled, by the way.
Thank
so
you.
You did a really great job, and I think
Thank
it's
you.
really nice for everybody, because the thing with the industry is that we only see each other
That's
very
right.
briefly on a wedding day,
Yeah.
maybe at an event that's going on. I know planners are especially busy because you guys are invited to a lot of different things,
Right.
so you're constantly going. But to see other people in the industry as well, like photography and film, and we are the people sometimes that are hidden in the caves doing the
Absolutely.
editing, so we don't get out as much.
Yes.
So I think it's a really good thing what you're doing,
Yeah.
and it's really nice.
Thank you. And we're excited. Like, we've had so many great people, you know, who want to contribute, who want to be a part of it. And we're trying not to make it a huge event.
Yep.
Because I like the intimacy about it. I also feel that it's more raw that way. And if you have over, 200 people, it's not the same. It's
Yep.
not the same experience. So I feel like a curated list of people that can continue to have a support group is what we want to keep and maintain, that exclusiveness,
Yep.
just because those people are so deserving of it. And we have every range of, like, there's so many different people in the industry. There's many planners, and the list is very curated because I feel that all these people need it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like it's something that we need. Like,
Need to
myself, I needed this.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine others that think but don't say it, that needed it as
Yeah.
well. And like the whole styling behind it, like why I try to go with some powerful words, because I wanted people to see more of who they are and how powerful they are,
Right.
and how much strength they have. So we went really bold with the black and white, and just the text itself spoke. Like, I just wanted
Yeah,
the
I
words.
loved those.
Yeah,
Did you get to keep those?
Yeah, I actually gave them away.
Oh, you did?
So the only one I kept was Boss.
Nice.
Because I thought that was fun. And then I gave, donated them to all the other guests
Good.
that were there. So whoever wanted to take them took them.
Cool.
And we had some amazing vendors on board. I think we had like over 30 sponsors.
Wow.
For a group of 60 ladies, which is incredible.
Yeah.
So it was
Yeah.
pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I think
Yeah.
it's a good idea.
Yeah.
So keep it up.
Yes, we're going to try again. People keep harassing me. When's the next one? How do I come? So I'm figuring it out. We're trying to create something for November again. November seems to be a good time. And then,
Right.
yeah.
Post-season, so everyone
Exactly.
can kind of just relax.
Exactly.
Nice.
People have a break.
Yeah.
They can let it all out.
Yeah. The tears, the
whatever
laughs.
tears, laughs, whatever's on their mind. Yeah.
So,
Yes.
do you,
Uh-oh.
question, remember when we first met?
No.
No.
When did we first meet?
I know. So, okay. So I like to
Do
think
you
back.
remember?
I do.
Oh, okay.
So, I was shooting the Wedlocks wedding show
Okay.
in 2017.
Was it 17? Okay.
The year you had done the entrance, I believe.
I met you and I asked
Right?
you if you're, yes, that's right. You're absolutely right.
And so because you were at the front, you and the girls.
Yes.
And so I came up and said hello and introduced
Yeah.
myself. But that was the first time we had actually met. So
Yes.
it was pretty fresh, pretty recent.
It was fresh.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? When I did the first Hustlers Brunch before that, I was like, I need to meet more female cinematographers
Oh.
because I'm sure they're so kick ass. So when I met you, I was actually so excited because it was incredible and your work is so amazing.
Oh,
I love
you.
it.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, it's very rare to find. Like, there's definitely females out there.
There is, yes, there's a few.
But
It's rare to find.
It's rare to find. It's a very
Yes.
male-dominated industry,
It is,
and
yeah.
there's a reason. Like, it is very taxing. It's very
Yes.
physical. So, like, it definitely takes someone who's able to do that kind of work.
That's why you've got this.
But it's my country roots that lead me to be like that.
Yeah.
Honestly, just lucking around in the mud as a kid, and now I'm.
And then that's what you do. That's fine. I used to farm back in the day as well. And I used to go in the mountain with goats.
Yeah.
So when I used to live in Portugal,
Okay.
with my grandparents, I was
Yeah.
there for a while, and I went to school. I would farm. I was in there. So
You know what I
know
mean? It's
100%.
But it's like that because you have to pull your hair back and you have to.
You
play
get
it-
dirty.
You have to play in the dirt.
That's it.
So yeah, it's like
That's awesome.
There's females that do it, but sometimes it can be rare.
Yeah.
You've now rebranded.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the kind of the idea? Like, you have a team right now.
Yes.
So tell me kind of about your girls and what the idea is behind the rebrand.
So I'll start with the rebrand. So I always thought about if I ever want to expand the company, if I want to put products out there, if I ever want to mentor, you need to have a face behind the name. And that was really important because that's what I want to do. Like, that's a goal of mine, to get out there, to be a speaker, to motivate, to talk to people, even one-on-one. I'm not saying huge conferences, but start small, kind of work with people individually, because I feel that I have a lot to share just from my personal story. So
Do you mean, sorry to interrupt, but do you mean like from a business perspective or from even motivational for
Both.
someone to get get like
both.
their confidence up.
100%.
Yep.
I feel having motivation and confidence is very important. And a lot of people sometimes have so much fear that they forget that they're stopping themselves. And actually, when I was younger, that was one of my problems. I put so much fear, like I knew I could do it, but I would second guess that I could do it. And I just had to listen to myself and say, you know what, just get out there and go.
You have to.
Stop. You know, if you want to be there, you're the only one who's stopping yourself. So why are you doing that? And those are things that I want to remind people of. It doesn't matter what industry they're in, if they're in an event or they're not. It's the same situation in every industry.
Yep.
It's the same feeling that everyone has, whether it's in mental illness or whatnot. Like, it's the same conversation. So I want to speak to let people know that you don't have to have the fear. You can get through it, and there's a few steps that you need to take to get there.
Yep.
So that was important for me. And a lot of people were always like, well, who's Truly Yours Planning? They knew the company.
Yep.
They connected to it. They would know me, but did they know my name? So that for me was important as well, because it's so personal. I wanted people to connect personally with myself, because I do a lot of the full planning, the design. So that was important as well. And my team is all support. So they will manage events. They will help on the graphic side of things. They will help in the logistics side of things. But it's kind of a team effort. And everyone was actually really supportive of the change. They know how hard I've worked. They know how much I've had to sacrifice. So for them, they were all on board. Like, there's not one person that said, I don't know if that's a good idea. I think everybody was completely supportive, because they knew that with this change, great things would come for them as well.
For sure.
Right?
And your
More
head
doors
down.
open.
Your head down. So as soon as you make your decision, you're ready to go.
100%.
Yeah.
I think that that's one thing that, once you get to know me, is once I'm done, I'm in. Like, once it's come in to my decision, like, I will second guess a lot behind the scenes, only because I want to make sure that I make the best decisions. But once that decision's made, it's go, 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 and don't stop.
Yeah.
And
I can see that just from sitting here
Oh,
with
sorry.
you. No, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I can see that trait.
Yeah,
So
and
it's not-
I did it honestly, to be honest. If we go into the whole rebranding situation, in November, I wasn't even sure.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I was like, am I going to rebrand? Am I not? What are people going to think? What are the thoughts? Then I'm like, and then I said, you know what? Forget all of the clutter. Forget what I'm thinking about, and forget all the distractions. You know what's best for you, and you've always made those decisions because you always had that feeling.
Yep.
So in February, I flipped it.
Yep.
So this year, February, I said, I'm going to do it. And one day I made the decision. I got the business license. I went bang, 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 and just out the door.
Right.
Next day, things were done.
Yep.
And that for me was important, because I didn't want to second guess something that I've had on my mind for over 6 years. It's been on my mind for a while.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I just never made that change, but I finally decided to do it.
You just have to do it. It was similar to even with this podcast.
Right.
I've got the microphones, and I just started going, let's do this. Got them ordered, and it was off.
That's
there's
it.
no going back. You go with
can't.
it.
Yeah, I think, and sometimes it's the best feeling is the fear of the unknown, because you don't know. But if you put positive energy into it, if you put your heart into it, and you know in your heart that you're doing something you love, what else is going to stop you?
Yeah.
And if people support what you do, they're going to come with you.
Yeah.
They're going to support you.
Yeah. That's the thing,
Right?
when you find it and you're passionate about it, and you
Yes.
just make your decision to go for it, and it doesn't even feel like work. You're just kind
Yes.
of doing what you love, and
100%.
it's fun. So you've
Yeah.
obviously found that.
Yeah,
There's
I
no
love
question,
it.
but-
I'm obsessed with
Yeah.
what I do.
So if you've been doing this since 2006, you were pre-social media.
That's right.
Essentially, like Facebook obviously was in
Yeah.
2006, but nothing really was driven to business until like 2014-ish. So like,
How did I get my business?
how are you keeping
Yes.
keeping up on, like, are you constantly, you don't have a social media manager, or do you?
I do not. I
No,
do it
you do it
myself.
yourself. Yeah.
I feel that one of the things with social media is, if I'm going to be out there, I want to show myself.
Yeah.
And I feel that, and I don't know if this is right, but I feel the more that people engage with me, and even like I met someone the other day, I was planning an event. It was another planner. She's like, you're so organic. You're so natural. And I'm like, really? I'm like, because you don't know what people think. I just do what I feel, and I just say what I feel, and things just come out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't Like, it's not, for me, like, it's a quick edit for me. It's not like, let me think about how it's going to turn out. I'm just going to say it. And if it comes out well, that's great. So I focus on that. And I put out there what I think people want to see. I do study like who's following us, age groups, all of that, because that's important. We need to know who our audience is. And I want to make sure that I connect with our audience. When you were mentioning back in the day when the social media wasn't huge, it was all networking. There was wedding shows. My first wedding show was Canada's Bridal Show. And I had to sit there for 3 days, fully smiling, make sure people got to know me. And that's how I made my first connections out into the city, so people can get to know me a little bit more. So that's how I started there. And then we would advertise. And I've always felt that the more I would meet with people, the better it was, because it's a personal connection. You want to make sure that you're connecting, that we're on the same page, that we understand people's visions, that they're comfortable working with us, that they can trust us. So that for me has always been the key. And even though social media is very important, I still want to see people. I still want to meet with them. I still want them to feel like they're having an experience with me and my team. So for me, social media is amazing because I get to share more of that, and they get to see it, and they get to do more research that way, because it's a quick swipe, this to the left, to the right. So you can engage more with people, but it also gives us the opportunity to connect with the right clients. Because they can see our work, see if they love what we do, and then connect with us on that level.
Do you think Instagram is your biggest platform for people coming to you, or is it referrals or word of mouth?
Referrals.
It's mostly referrals and planning, because everybody's kind of...
Absolutely.
Right?
I find that what social media does, it's just a staple on, okay, I've heard about them. Let me see what they're doing. What are they currently up to? People want to keep up to date. They want to constantly see things refreshed. They don't want to see you stale. They want to see something new and fresh. So for me, I've had clients from 6 years ago, 7 years ago, 10 years ago when I first started referring people. And they come, and I just, like this weekend that just passed, we did a wedding, sister's wedding, and then we did a baby shower. So it's all connected. Everyone's connected. And even people that we personally don't know each other, they all are connected to each other. And it's just another way of them saying, this is the referral basis. Like, it's a great thing, actually. What people want when they come to me is an experience with me. They want an experience with my team. They want me to be present at all the meetings. They want me to be available at their every need. And I want to show them that side of me, because that's what they're paying for. They're paying for their experience with me. Yes, we can deliver beautiful weddings, high end, mid end, we can do all of that. But what they really want is, like, we had someone call us, they're like, I've been following you for so long. I'm not engaged yet, but I just want you to know that I'm getting married, and I've already told him to do the proposal with you, blah, 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 blah. And like all these things. And I'm like, well, at least that shows me that you're interested in working with me, because you haven't even physically met me, but you're already connected to me, which means if you're connected to me, I'm going to love you because we already connect. Right? And that's important.
That's why I love social media. I think it's the powerful thing that gives 100%. People insight on who you are. So
100%. Well, amazing. You know, when you started the VIP, is a VIP collection? Collective or VIP? That's what I was thinking. Because you're like, it sounds like, what VIP. Was it, Zip or VIP?
I said, we got our new sign. It's VIP rhymes with
That's
Kip.
Right. That's what it was. That's why I'm like, what?
No, that was a joke.
Sorry, the VIP collection.
Yeah.
So when you started that, it actually made me laugh so much. But I saw the work, I saw the editing. It was fun. It was exciting. Yeah. What I really loved was just seeing you in your natural habitat, just like being you. And that was something that connected me. And I was like, oh, how fun and exciting. And I was so genuinely happy for you.
Right.
Because you were doing something and people got to see that side of you.
Right.
So for me, it's so important that we have this platform and we use it in a positive way.
Yes.
Right? Which is great.
Yeah. How important is positivity to you?
Huge. Yeah, I find like positivity just in general. I feel that when a client is positive about the experience, they're going to have the most amazing day. They trust the people that they work with. They know we have their back. Me as a person, I'm always going to be as positive as possible. No matter what situation I'm put in, I've got to look at the bright side of things. And I'm always going to focus on the bright side of things because the bright side of things will always kill everything else that's in place.
Yep.
So it's really important.
It's like reworking mindset, right? You
Absolutely.
have to rework other people's mindset, especially because I'm assuming
Yes.
the emotions are really high when you're
100%.
planning a wedding.
Yes.
And so you really have to talk people down and just
Yes.
get them calm and be like, hey, listen.
I can tell you one of the things that we do is like when a client comes into the office and right before they book us, I want to make sure that they trust us. So if you trust us, I promise you're taken care of. Don't worry about a thing. I don't want you to bring any negative energy into this experience because I promise you, my heart's all yours. That's it.
Yep.
So it's, for me, that's really important. So trust and being positive. And you can feel like when people have a lot of anxiety, it doesn't mean that like we'll help them. Like I've helped people, you know, just like personally get through a lot of things. I feel like sometimes I do therapy sessions in a great way because I want to help people. I want to make sure that they're okay. And that's really important for me.
Yeah.
It's not just like, let's plan your wedding, let's get you in and out. It's like, no, let me make sure you're okay every step of the way.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about wedding stuff going on this year. Is there anything in particular you're excited to see happening at all in terms of like trends, colors, anything like that? That's kind of...
In terms of trends, I feel that people are doing a lot of more interactive things. So in terms of interactive, like I'm a huge entertainment person. I love everything entertainment. So when we have things that are to theme and they're interactive, like suspending people, but doing different things, not just like, you know, an aerial performer or like really cool photo inspirations. I love the bouncy castle idea. There's so many different things that are really cool that I'm seeing that I'm loving, but I also love how clients are wanting different things.
Right.
You know, like the swings are huge. Everybody wants to be
Swings
sitting
are
on a
fun.
swing.
I like
They
them.
are. It doesn't even matter how many times I have a swing. I always just want to sit on it.
It's like being a kid again, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're beautiful. And I think like even in graphics, there's so many cool things that you can do in graphics
Right.
and just like custom designs that you can create. And that's really big right now. Just creating a full room out of graphics, which is inspirational. Light shows, which is really nice. There's a lot of those things.
Do a lot of those interactive things happen during cocktail hours primarily?
They do. And I think actually that's the best time to have them.
Yeah.
I even like late night. I feel that a lot of people consider, oh, let's just have late night stations. But how fun would it be to do more interactive things at late night?
Right.
Because I feel that people will be so much more engaged and you're going to have so much more fun with it. So during dinner, it's really nice to show, but I feel that you want to be a part of it and involved. So to have it during cocktail, but having it for late night is even better. Well, I think there's so many cool things that you can do. Like if you're obsessed with McDonald's,
Right.
amazing. We just did a food truck where our clients were serving the guests.
Nice.
I think that's so fun.
During the dancing?
During dinner,
reception?
yeah. Well, during late night.
Oh, during late night.
Yeah, during late night. So we pulled up a food truck and they were just serving their guests. They had cute little aprons. I feel like brides and grooms need to be more interactive with their guests.
Right.
And be a part of it, but also show your appreciation for your guests and kind of wine and dine them a little bit. And doing something like that is a lot of fun. And it's more of an experience for yourself as well. You're not just running away to, kind of do photos and everything else. You're engaging with everyone. Like how exciting is it to be when the door pops open and you see the bride and groom there and they're just like taking care of everyone.
Yeah.
It's the best feeling.
Yeah.
So I love that idea. I love the late nights that are interactive. I also love, instead of just stations, things being passed around.
Yeah.
Like if you're dancing, you don't want to get off the dance floor. Let the food come to you.
Yes.
So like having like mini little sliders, little mini pizzas, even desserts. I love interactive desserts. Who doesn't want like a little chocolate brownie coming to you or a cupcake? Like those are things that are so fun.
Okay.
And that is happening more, and we're encouraging our clients to do that because you don't want to take them away from the party. You want the party to come to them. And I feel like we want the guests to be taken care of. So go to the dance floor, take care of your clients and your guests and everybody else. I saw not too long ago, which we are definitely want to be doing soon, is there's this robot photo booth and it travels to you.
Cool.
So you don't have to go to a photo booth and wait.
Oh my God.
There's someone manning it, and it's here, it's local in Toronto, and it comes to you. You push the button, take your photo, and then it goes off and then it sends you the pictures. That's cool.
Oh my God, I've never seen.
Yeah, and that's something that I find that we love photo booths, but it's an interactive booth, or it's something that's different, or it's a stylized photo booth area, a portrait lounge, like something that's completely different and not always done. Yeah. That is going to be really cool.
Something a little unique.
Yes.
And plus, millennials don't like to wait for anything.
They do not. They want it right here. So it's like you turn around. Oh, let me take a selfie. You're set.
Exactly.
You're happy.
You don't have to go anywhere.
That's right. Last year, you know the smoke bombs? Mm-hmm. People love them. We did them at night.
Yeah.
So change it up. Like, you can take an idea, but flip it. It doesn't have to be, have great, amazing lighting, but do something that's different. I also feel that we're doing a lot more experiences. Mm-hmm. It's not just, okay, come to the event, go to cocktails, sit down for dinner. Flip something around, make it an experience. So whether it's with candlelight, whether it's creating an area that is intimate for guests, like a little piazza with a beautiful lounging area that they can just have a nook of coffee stations, feel like they're not there, but they're there. Cool. Creating different experiences for guests.
Yep. Because I think that's what you remember as
Absolutely. If anybody's going to talk about anything, it's about their experience. And things are redundant, and we understand that there's always a timeline. We always understand that we have to get things done a certain way, but we also want to change the game, and we don't want to do everything the same.
Right.
So that for me is important, and having clients and brides and grooms think about those things, even how we can assist them with that, but just think about different things that are important to them, and taking a simple idea and just transforming it would be really fun.
And be a reflection of what they want.
Absolutely.
And what they like, right?
We recently saw a couple who they skate, and they did like their first dance on a skating rink, and that was amazing. Yeah. That was something that I would remember. I didn't do that event, but I saw that. Yeah. And I was like, how cool was that? They filled up a pond.
Was it in the summer?
It was, I think it was winter.
Okay.
Here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I was at the Arlington Estate, actually. So I thought they did an amazing job with that. And it was so nice to see that. Mm-hmm. And it was a reflection. Sometimes people are like, well, I don't know how I'd incorporate my personal style and this and that. Trust me, there's so many ways.
I know you have to
just
go digging.
let it out.
Yeah,
just let it out.
You have to go digging and write down your interests.
That's right.
Things like that. It was funny. We had done a same day edit a couple of years ago, and the couple had asked me to recreate the intro to Gone in 60 Seconds, the movie. And I don't know it off the top of my head. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to close down the 401 and hire some big bald guy. I didn't know what I was going to have to do. And then they brought me in and they showed me the intro, and we nailed it. And it was amazing. So fun to work on. But it was getting to know what the client likes, and then being able to translate something for them that's a reflection of them. So,
absolutely.
And that's what you do.
And it makes you much more so much more creative, and it gives you so much more excitement and passion. And I think that's why we're always excited about projects that we get to do, because we get to push that little bit from the client, and just bring a piece of them to the event.
Love it.
And that's important.
Love it. Yeah. Okay, so two things that I'm always curious to know.
Okay.
What is your favorite part of not the planning process, but the actual wedding day?
The wedding day. When I get to sit down. I'm just kidding.
So true, though. Oh, yeah, right there with you.
Well, you're working all day when your feet are killing. No. But in all seriousness, I absolutely love the reveal. Mm-hmm. I feel because that's the most exciting part for a bride, and the groom, but the bride a little bit more, right. Because she's worked so hard to envision it, and just kind of opening those doors and kind of gasping, are they going to like it? What are they going to think? That's the best part. Cool. And then when they do and they're excited about it, you feel like, okay, we did this.
Yep.
We made it happen for them.
Yep.
So absolutely.
And they're a little bit anxious leading up to it. And then as soon as they see each other, it's like they've relaxed. Yes. And then it kind of sets the tone a little bit.
Yeah. And then they just get to, I find that in the morning, there's always hair and makeup. There's so much going on. Mm-hmm. And then they just need that moment to kind of say, hey, we did this.
Yeah.
And it's so nice when we get to see them actually walk in there.
Yeah.
And feel like we did a good job.
Yeah. So my last question for you, and this one was actually posed from our last guest, Tara McMullen, and she said she would like to know on all future guests where you think the future of the wedding industry is headed.
Future of the wedding industry. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to go in big places, meaning our events are going to get bigger. There's going to be a lot more crazy ideas out there. There's going to be a lot more, I would say, items available to us. I feel that, there's so many countries that have so many things that their capabilities are huge. If I'm looking at our market, I think that it's growing, it's expanding. We have so much talent. there's going to be a lot more technology involved, 100%, especially with just the internet, how the millennials are, all these young people, they're coming up with all these really cool ideas. So I find that it's going to be more interactive, but very exciting and huge.
And huge.
Yeah,
it's not going to go intimate. It's going to keep growing.
No, it's going to keep growing. Yeah. And I wouldn't say in numbers, but I would just say in volume of what things do and what expectations are.
I see.
Because the more events you go to, and we always ask our clients like, oh, what is something you liked about an event or you disliked about an event? We're always hearing something different, and the most common thing is the experience. People want a guest experience. They want it to feel different. They want to walk in there and feel like they're being taken care of. So people are going to be doing a lot more to ensure that everybody is happy and that they're reaching that potential to its fullest.
I love it. All right. Well, we'll stay tuned and see if that happens.
I know. I hope so.
Do you have a question that you'd like to pose to either anyone watching, listening, or potentially
like
next guest?
Yeah. What's absolutely something you'll never forget about a specific event that you went to that is a must-have at your wedding?
And why did it trigger something for you?
That's right.
Yeah.
And
I like it.
Let's do that.
Cool.
Because I love experiences. So
You do.
I'm going to stick with the experience.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well, I'm excited we are working together next year.
That's right. We are.
I don't know if I'm seeing you this year, but I will see you next year.
You will.
And you're welcome to come back anytime.
Oh, thank you.
We're going to keep doing this.
Yes.
So come back, visit, and thank you for coming.
I'm so excited. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. High
five.
Bye.